see you. Number one in class. Lately, you are the number one in class. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on time. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, did you do any assignment yesterday? I left you with an assignment yesterday. Did you carry out the assignment for yesterday? Did you manage to get some time to carry out the assignment? As we wait for the rest to come on board, and you can tell me if you managed to carry out the assignment. If you don't remember, let me just give it to you. Yesterday, I told you that before our next lesson, identify one encounter that became an opportunity and share how you turned it into impact. One encounter that became an opportunity and share how you turned it into impact. At least one. At least one. Hmm? At least one. Share with me that. That was yesterday's assignment. Can you share that with me? Hello, Grace. How are you? Good to see you. You okay? Okay. So, yesterday that was the assignment I left you with. Hello, Mia. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you all. Thank you for keeping time. I hope Casey, Brenda, Kate, Juliet, Hajara are all coming through. So I left you with an assignment yesterday. Hi, Kezzy. I just talked about you, then you appeared. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good afternoon. Good morning for those in Saudi Arabia. Here it is good afternoon. So yesterday I left you an assignment, guys, and I asked you before our next lesson, I needed to identify one encounter that became an opportunity and share how you turned it into impact. Impact, just an opportunity. It could be just an opportunity. Before we start, I need you all to share with me something. Think. Now, as you think, for those who are new on this platform, my name is Jacinta. This is Build Beyond You, and on this channel, we rediscover our identities from misalignment to identity alignment, just in case it is misaligned, but we are in the process of rediscovering our identities. We go back to the drawing board, we create vision boards, we create a roadmap, okay? And then we nurture those innate abilities, overcome obstacles that are hindering us from flourishing in our true identities with the event that we step into, our true leadership authority. So here is where we build systems and structures around every aspect or area of our lives, whether financial, relational, mental, or spiritual. We actually do understand how to live a whole, like a balanced life by having systems and structures in each area of life, and then ensuring that our emotional and mental faculties are not breaking down. That's why we first build inwardly first before we build outwardly. So you're very welcome, and thank you very much for joining our class. And we've been having the series from December till today. The series that we're having now is the the blind man blueprint. What was I thinking about? The blind man blueprint series. We were dealing with the empty vessel series the last time. I think it got to my head, so I was thinking about it. But now we're dealing with the blind man blueprint series. Now, what do I mean by blind man blueprint series? Is the Empty Vessel series was about a widow. These are case studies to show you the transformation process, how it moves from beginning to end. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the same exact order of encounters. You can have encounters and then you have a revelation during the encounters. But the entire transformation process has all those steps that I gave you, which are 11, okay? And those are actually 11 classes. So just in case you're also interested in going through your own transformation process. Those are 11 days, 11 classes. You can contact me in my inbox, and then we can discuss how I can help you see yourself in a totally different way. 11 days, 11 classes, your own, and then you create your roadmap. Now, the daily classes that we have, like right now, we're looking at case studies, for example. We are in the empty vessel series, and we have an opportunity to see how transformation practically or experientially is it like demonstrated or illustrated through someone's problem or encounter to the end, and what was the outcome for that particular case study. Now, in the empty vessel series, it was about the widow. What did she encounter? She encountered grief. Her husband died. Debt. He left her debt. Her two sons were being taken for slavery. So when the creditors were coming, she was like, "Okay, now I need to do something about all this." That was her awakening, to the end that she received her inheritance. So there's always a purpose for why we experience what we experience, and there's always an outcome. And then for the case study of the blind man, which is the series we're dealing with right now, every single day we have something to talk about, especially specifically about that case study. Okay, we see how transformation practically or experientially plays out, is demonstrated, is illustrated step by step. So it depends on what experiences you may be having, what encounters you may be having, how have you been approaching, how can your perception really change about the experiences that you have, so that you get out of being stuck and transition to move from one level to the next. So we're looking at the blind man. Okay, and today's lesson 3. Okay, so I hope you guys have answered. I left you with an assignment. I said before our next lesson, identify one encounter that became an opportunity and share how you turned it into impact. Okay, so I can see Grace. Yesterday, someone was telling me about some money. One person had picked and returned that it was big, and that if it was them, they would not take it back. So I used that opportunity, beautiful, to preach to him and tell him how anything got the wrong way is like building on sinking sand and won't stand a test of time. Lovely. Now we might not come to conclusion, but it left them thinking. That's important. You planted your seed and you walked away. And that's what is important. They make the choice, because everybody has the power to make the choice. You choose life or death. So you did your part. You did not keep quiet. And that was a very beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that experience. And that is actually an encounter that has an impact. Your impact is that you actually planted the seed. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. Yeah. The fruit is what your the fruit is in your response. Okay, it doesn't have to be tangible, but it is in your response with what you saw and you corrected through through talking. That was a very good one. Thank you very much, because you never know what that would do for somebody. Thank you, Grace. And then Juliet, how I left someone's business to join another company. In that process, I managed to start my business, which means that you learned something from the other business. Yes, good afternoon, Juliet. You learned something from the other business, okay? The systems and the structures and all, and I hope you left in good faith, okay? I hope you did not leave the business like you did not leave the person in bad faith, and now you're building yours because you also need that blessing from that person. Okay, and that's a good thing. Thank you very much for sharing. Oh, you did? That's nice. That's nice, Juliet. Thank you for sharing. See, you don't have an encounter. Yeah, because I asked you first. Yeah, the one encounter that became an impact, and that became an opportunity, and how you turn it into impact, because that's exactly what we are all about here. We are all about opportunities, what problems are coming to us, how do we solve them, and what's the impact. That's what we are all about here, creating solutions to problems. Okay, so Mia, anything from your side? Hey, Hajara, good to see you. Good to see you guys. Okay, so now that we have clearly understood, let me just get my page, my notes. I don't know where I opened up the wrong ones. I opened up lesson 2 instead of lesson 3. Okay, because you also have an experience. I like that. Okay. Yesterday someone came for financial help, but I didn't have the amount he needed. So I prayed for him and encouraged him not to give up his business. It will stabilize since he relocated to a new place. Okay. And maybe you could go ahead even to find out to what exactly is in the place, how what opportunities he can take advantage of in the place, and you can go an extra mile. After praying for him, do some help him a bit with what you can, which is you're very resourceful, Kezi. So I think you can find out about the place and try to get as much information as you can about the place for him and let him receive that support from you. You understand what I mean? Because that's what I've seen with you. You support. When I just started TikTok, when you came on board immediately, you started putting the titles, you started putting the questions, and that support. It's like, yeah, it's like a support, You do not know the increase that God is going to put on just that. Okay? So do the research, get all the resources that He needs to get, that in terms of in your capacity of Google and whatever, whatever you can contribute and support Him. Okay? Because that act, see, when you serve other people, God also solves all most of your problems. Okay, so do exactly that because that's what you do. You do best. Okay, thank you very much. You're very good you're very resourceful, and I like that about you. So please do that. See, Grace is also now doing her part. She talked about it. She entered the room boldly. Okay, now you're also doing the same. Oh, guys, I'm happy. There's feedback here. Juliet, you're also doing created your own business or built your own business. How I joined this class, I was so desperate and I needed someone to talk to. That's how I dumped on you came to this platform. That's nice. That's nice, Juliet. And I'm glad that you came. I'm glad that you all joined this class because at the end of the day, we want to build a community of like-minded people, be in an atmosphere, an environment where we can have accountability for what we are doing, why we are here, and the fact that we are all impact-oriented. We solve problems. We are very proactive in the way we think. We need to support each other. We need to understand each other, and we need to understand that we are all uniquely designed to contribute. We're not the same at all. Each of us has something that differentiates the other from the other, and each of us is assigned to different mountains. And even if we are both assigned, let's say, to the mountain of education, yeah, you're going to be teaching something different. Your sound is not going to be the same as mine, and that's the thing with rediscovering your identity. You're the only one with your human blueprint. Okay, because you can also check on Brenda and Kate. Okay. Now, lesson 3, as you can see, go, wash, and see. Now that you have shared what happened um, the assignment that I gave you for yesterday's class, thank you very much for sharing, by the way, and thank you for the input. I really do appreciate. Now we want to see the power of simple obedience. You see, simple obedience even starts with when you are given an assignment. Okay, you're given an assignment for what you have received, the knowledge you have received, so that you can go and do. You're going to see why I give you assignments every end of class. It is in the wash. You see those 3 words: go, wash, see. As we unpack today's lesson, you will see what go means, what wash means, what see means. But immediately I can tell you, when I give you an assignment and you come back here and you have feedback, okay, that means that you are actually really paying attention to your encounters. You may think that you don't have encounters, but you actually do. You just need to pay attention. You'll realize that you do have the encounters. Because you cannot come for this lesson and you sit here, okay, and you do not have something to take home with you. This is an impact oriented platform, okay? So whatever is put out is for a purpose, and there has to be an outcome. It doesn't have necessarily have to be tangible, but there has to be progression. It's important that there's progress from one level to another. So when you say go, wash, see, simple. Wash is exactly what all of you have been doing. You came, you received, you went, you washed. And even if you've not managed to complete whatever it is that you needed to complete, you started on it and you have talked about it in the right environment, because we also don't want to release our information in environments that are going to either sabotage or abort what God is actually doing. So you also have to be led not to just say anything or share here anything. You must be led. God has told you, shh, indeed, shh, okay? Don't share what you don't need to share. So, let me ask you a question. Have you ever prayed for God to change your situation while ignoring the instruction connected to your answer? Just a simple question. Have you ever prayed for God to change your situation while ignoring the instruction connected to the answer? You asked Him to help you, but you have ignored. It's good to be very honest. It's good to be very honest. You see, you have prayed for God to change the situation. He gives you an instruction, you ignore it. And moreover, the instruction is connected to the answer, but you don't see how it is connected to the answer. Let me show you how you can think, what is that? 6 to 7 was the verse, were the two verses that we are making reference to in John 8:9. When he when he had spoken, he spat on the ground. He made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with clay, and said unto him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam. He went his way therefore, and washed and came seeing. He came in blind, left seeing. Okay? But what was the instruction from God to Jesus? Spit on the ground. Make the clay out of the spittle. Anoint his eyes with that clay. And then tell him to go and wash in the pool of Siloam. Yeah. You would be like, yeah? Really? Like the woman. Go and borrow vessels. She's in debt. Then you're telling her, go and borrow vessels. Does it make sense? No, it doesn't. But you are not the manufacturer. You're not the creator. You're not the head. You are receiving. Thank you, Mia, for sharing. Yeah, you had prayed for Mary Juliet. But you didn't follow the instruction, right? So you see, many of us desire transformation. We desire healing. We desire breakthrough. We desire clarity of what exactly is going on. But when it comes to transformation, you see, when we talk about transformation, it often begins when instruction is followed by participation. Like when I give you an assignment and you participate. That is what that's where transformation begins. Your attitude, your willingness, your movement. You set in motion when you move. You set in motion when you do. You set in motion when you hear the instruction or when the opportunity comes in your face and you're like, let me take advantage of it immediately before I miss it. That blind man received a miracle. But there was still something that he had to do. He had to go, wash, and see for him to see, because seeing was the last part. But he had to go, he had to wash, he had to see, he had to follow the instructions. And you see, in lesson 2, we learned that every day is an opportunity to do the work of the one who sent us, right? We are sent to be the light. We are sent to do work, perform activities, go here, go there, do this, do that at your place. Encourage this person, speak to this one, go and do this. Instructions, basically. Yeah. And we discovered that yesterday, we also discovered that encounters are not interruptions, they are opportunities for impact. When the way you've given me those examples, the opportunities that you saw, and you immediately recognized them for opportunities, and you responded in the different ways that you have highlighted. The next phase of the process, first of all, the encounter has taken place, the instruction has been released. The question now becomes, what happens next? After the encounter has taken place, the instruction has been released. What happens next? So it's go, wash, see. The instruction will always come before the miracle. Don't expect to pray only. There must be an instruction. And sometimes God will send people into our lives who have received instructions concerning us. He has put it on the heart of Jacinta to open up this channel. I don't know who I'm going to meet. And then Juliet pops up. And then Casey pops up. And then Mia pops up. And then Grace pops up. And then Sim pops up. And then Kate. And then Brenda. And then Hajara. I don't know you. You don't know me. But I'm sent to go to this platform to do this. The instructions are for the people that he knows. The instructions he gives you is for you to follow. Then the rest, you leave it to the manufacturer. And you see, the people who are sent to us, their assignment is not to replace our participation. No, it's not so that for you sit and you do this. Their assignment is to help you move into the next stage of your transformation. But the question is, what is your contribution? Do you know what you're supposed to do? Or are you available to receive? You see, now let me be very practical here. The blind man did not ask Jesus for mud. He did not ask him to place clay on his eyes, did he? No. He did not even suggest a method of how he should receive healing. This example is different from the empty vessel series. This time round, the instruction came from God to Jesus and asked him to get the mud, put the sputum, clay, put it on his eyes and tell him to go. So he received the instruction and acted upon it. He obeyed. Like I said, sometimes God will send people into your life who have received instructions concerning you. So you see how Jesus received instructions concerning the blind man? But it did not mean that the blind man should only be like this. No, he was still supposed to participate. Whereas, when you go back to the empty vessel series, yes, Elisha also received instructions for the widow. But this time round, Elisha's instructions were, go, do this, do this. He stopped on talking, did not act. But Jesus this time acted. And the widow went and also did the acting, the doing, everything experiential for her to the end. Okay? So, your assignment, don't forget, your assignment is to participate. And that's what I ask of you every day here. Please participate. Because whoever comes in your life needs to see movement. You see, no one wants to be in an area or with somebody where they're not seeing progress. Your helpers will be discouraged. They need to see progress. So you also have to go to God. God, give me progress. And even the persons who are helping you, don't get tired. I don't want them to get tired. So the question is, are you ready to receive what God sends or who God sends you? Sometimes you see that help, it's going to disguise itself as a conversation, as a correction, as an opportunity. It could be a relationship, it could be a mentor like myself, it could be a lesson, it could be an unexpected encounter. And you see, yesterday one of you had an encounter that was beautiful, that I do not want to do injustice to it. Grace courageously entered a place that she had never entered before. She had no guarantees, but she simply took the step. You understand? Just giving her as a case study. After speaking with someone there, she left her number. Now, I assume I know the story very well. She left her number and later she received a message. I am willing to help you at no cost. Imagine if fear had stopped her from entering. You see how I keep telling you, enter unknown spaces. Imagine if you, imagine if insecurity, even if it's there, you just say, you're not mine. Because it's not your weakness, it's a weakness, it is not yours. So he's going to make you strong in that weakness. You're going to put on the list and put aside and ignore it as a distraction. It's not yours. So imagine if insecurity had convinced her to stay at home. Imagine if she did not take that step. First of all, the encounter was waiting. The encounter also did not know that grace was arriving. The favor was waiting. The favor was waiting. The instruction was waiting. So, what was required? What was required? Now that we are clear that the encounter was waiting for grace, the favor was waiting, and the instruction was waiting. What was what was grace supposed to do? Anyone would like to share? Action, exactly. Grace was supposed to action. But only could grace action when she had received instruction. So having received instruction and she followed what you say, let me follow my instincts. She walked in those footsteps the way she did and went to that place. And before she knew it, now who is going to intercept you? When even you yourself who is going, you don't know what's going to happen. You see why you need the master strategist to give you a strategy as you build your human blueprint. Because interception is going to be hard. Resistance only comes when information is released, when they are aware of what is going on. That's why we're moving. Because we've seen the consequences of opening our mouths and saying we are delayed, we sabotage, or you know it's even taken. Just had to approve. Okay. So it's important for you to do something about it. So now let's look at the human blueprint connection. What is the human blueprint connection here? I want to show you the transformation framework. First of all, God initiates. Then we participate. You understand? The encounter. Jesus meets the blind man as he is passing by. The blind man is identified. That is the exposure. The revelation, and it doesn't have to be in order. No, I just want to show you that you can pick one part of the process and put it here because that's exactly what has happened to you. It's not like it's yeah. No, no, no. These are experiences just written out, but yours can be reshuffled as is the blind man. Okay? Because in our normal transformation process, what comes up after exposure is reconciliation. But for him, it was revelation. Jesus revealed what must happen to him. Because for him, he was not even going to do anything. The instruction was, for him, the instruction was supposed to go get the Spartan, the mud, and everything. So he revealed to him what must happen. And then the blind man receives direction. Remember, he's not even seeing, but he received direction to go to the pool. And the blind, what is the responsibility here? He must take responsibility and go and respond. Then response, he goes. It may seem small to you, but do you know you can stop at discernment? Do you know you can stop at responsibility and get stuck there on responsibility? And you're like, what do I need to do? Then someone just comes and says, go. Eh? How come I did not think of it? Like the example that I gave you, I just go and apologize. Now, for me, it may have been normal for her to say, can you imagine? I've spent all this time. All I needed to do was to say sorry. You can be stuck. You can be stuck. And after responding, he washes. No, after he goes, then he washes. But you see, those instructions of he goes, then he washes. You can fail, you can be intercepted. You also know it, that there's going to be resistance. It's not going to be as slick as it is. Between responsibility and response, Sanballat and Tobias may come up. You want to go, but you're stuck because Sanballat and Tobias are resisting you, are delaying, are putting stagnation, are putting retrogression, are putting blockages, hindrances. Now you want to go, but in your heart you have responded. But Paul said, I was supposed to come to Macedonia, but I was resisted. You see. So you also have to overcome all those between response and refinement. Then you could see after refinement there was purpose. You could see. Now let him go and do exactly what he was given. And that was a code that you see when I say what differentiates you between everybody else is between refinement and purpose. Only you can decode that. We don't have it. Do we have it? Do we have the blind man's instruction between refinement and purpose? We only know that he sees. We only know that he was sent. While he was washing the eyes, how do we know where the revelation came from? Maybe it came from there, and the assignment was so clear the moment he washed the eyes. He even knew what to do. No conversation, no discussion. He has gone. And that same applies to you. That's why you cannot compete. No. Because between refinement and purpose, and refinement, you know how fire is in refinement, there's fire. But it's in that washing of the eyes, you think it's simple. That's the painful part of washing those eyes. There's joy, there's pain, there's everything in that part. Resistance and everything. Chaff is being taken away, wheat is separated, burning. But that's where the code is received. For you to enter that number 8 that you're seeing there, is he sees. What is he seeing? He's not just seeing that physical sight. No. He's seeing something, a solution to a problem. because he is the solution. He is the antidote. He is the solution to that problem. That's why transformation requires participation. God will provide the instruction and the opportunity. He will not only instruct you, but he will also give you opportunity. Now, why do you suffer going the other side and the other side and the other side? For what? When here, all you need to do is to open. Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. Yes, okay. Then it's painful, but I cannot do it. Try, be strong, take courage. Then you come, speak to Kezi. Kezi, it's okay. And then after that, you receive the opportunity. Basically, you just keep receiving. Yours is to receive, 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 receive. You receive the instruction, you receive the opportunity. But what do? You have to work it out in obedience. You have to move in faith. You have to obey the process. You have to take the step, and you have to receive the outcome. Before you know it, He's fulfilling His purpose through you. Transformation always requires participation. Hmm? So it's go, wash, see. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. So when we say go, wash, see. By the way, the entire lesson today is about go, wash, see. What is in go? It's the willingness in the going because it starts with you, right? It's you saying yes. It's your attitude. You say the blind man could have questioned, huh? Go where? What? But he had seen something. And let me tell you something with seeing. You've seen through conviction, no one can make you unsee what you've seen. He could have delayed, he could have doubted. Instead, he moved. Why? Because he decoded his code that only he could decode. That's why he came and asked Eve, what did God tell you? Not to eat of that one. Because only you can decode it. Now the problem is then we sabotage ourselves. We are the problem, not the deliverer of the news. So in go, instead he moved. And you see, many people remain stuck. Not because they lack answers, they remain stuck because they never move. Go. Go. Last year, yes, I received an instruction in April. Go to this city. Hey, you're telling me to go to this city? How? You wait. So mine was to ask, Mine was to say yes. But I first asked, but how? Then I delayed on how because I was asking a question that was not supposed to be asked until I remembered, hey, wait a minute. Yes. The moment I said yes, the how came. Meanwhile, immediately, someone called me. Hey, how are you? It's been long. What's going on? Hey, I received an instruction and I delayed. You're the one who was, well, something was telling me to call you and the person just quickly availed everything that I needed to go where I was supposed to go. He gives you an instruction and he gives you the opportunity. What do you do? What is your response? This man could have delayed, he could have doubted, but he moved when they told him, go. Don't ask the how before you say yes. After you ask the yes, ask the right question. What do I need to do? Because you have a pattern. So many other people have their script of this part of the movie. So ask the right question. What do I do next? What do I do next? All throughout the journey, you're going to start asking that question. What do I do next? What does washing represent? It represents obedience, it represents surrender, it represents trusting God even when the instruction does not make sense. The widow had to borrow vessels. Was that making sense? Borrow, you're in debt, now they're telling you to borrow. Really? And I don't know if you've heard of Naaman, who had leprosy all over his body. And while he was dressing up in his room, the servant maid saw him and said, what's wrong? Hey. She goes and tells the madam, I think there's somebody who can help your husband. Who? There's a prophet called Elisha. He's there in the mountains there. And Naaman was a captain. He was a big shot. This servant girl couldn't even go and tell him. So the wife advised, and he followed the instruction. But do you see where the instruction came from? So sometimes you can even despise people or places or things. Exactly. So imagine where the instruction came from the maid or the servant girl to the madam to Naaman. Then he also received the instruction. Meanwhile, he first refused. They told him, go and wash in the Jordan. The Jordan? Of all the places you've told me, couldn't you tell me something that's clean? Because it was dirty. And then he told him, and do it 7 times to make it worse. Really? It was like, I think, a dirty pool or something. I don't know. Dirty river or something, whatever it was. Do it 7 times. So you have to go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. It must have been smelling. But on the seventh time, and there he was. What can we give this man? They started taking off everything on I think the donkeys or something like that. The gold, the silver. I said, no, take back your things. He never asked you to give me. And why? Because it was not yet time for him to receive as per the instruction. If it was time for him to receive, he would know and he would receive. But he said no because he was following the instruction of it's not yet time for you to receive. And some of us have had to learn it the hard way. I'm sure you all know the times when I kept telling you, you come pay for the blueprint and everything, and then God will tell me later, no, I did not tell you. It's not yet time for you to receive. I will tell you when. I said, okay, I thought, don't think, follow the instructions. But you must be aligned to hear very well. So you see, everything is with instructions. The whole script I'm giving you is with instructions. So you see, the blind man had to wash in Siloam. Specifically, Siloam. Why Siloam? But that was the instruction. Naaman had to wash in Jordan. Why Jordan? The woman had to borrow vessels despite the fact that she had a debt. Why borrow vessels? Why not clay pot or plates? Why vessels? Transformation requires action and obedience. Then he told him, see, go wash, see. See is the result of obedience. The result of obedience is revelation. The result of obedience is clarity. The result of obedience is sight. When we obey, we receive sight. Things will be clear. There will be revelation. You cannot expect to receive revelation when you have not obeyed. You see how everything is chronologically arranged properly. He's a God of order, don't forget. The blind man came blind and he left seeing. He did not just see physically, he received a vision, he created a roadmap, a solution to a problem. He moved from encounter to purpose and he was sent because Siloam means sent. In one short verse like this, everything is in there. It was for a purpose and not for just. There was a demonstration. So let me show you the pattern of transformation. Still, different people, same transformation. You see, I told you the transformation process that I gave you, there are 11 steps, but you could have an encounter and then you skip to discernment. Then you understand, it doesn't have to be static. No. So that's why I want to show you one pattern, different people, same transformation. But what is the tangible or the most important aspect about this whole thing? Instruction, obedience, and transformation. From instruction, you move to obedience. If you don't obey the instruction, you won't see transformation. It's not the other way around. So let's look at the pattern. Hmm? The widow received instruction. The prophet Elisha gave the widow clear instructions, as you can see there, right? You can see here, right? Where my cursor is moving. Okay? She followed the instructions, every step the prophet had told her. She received the results. Her jars were filled with oil. She received provision and inheritance. This is not for just talk. We bear fruit. So if you're here on this platform, there must be outcome. There must be fruit, sorry. There must be impact. There must be continuity. There must be preservation. Okay? Naaman, as you've seen, instructed Naaman to go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. I'm saying it must have been dirty there. Then he went and washed in the Jordan 7 times as instructed. And his flesh was restored like that of a young boy. Hey, this one now is also another story. Young boy. You're not going to be restored to just, no. When there is restoration from God, now look at this one, young boy. This one gets, not only pays the debt, but lives on it, leaves an inheritance. Children's children. Hmm? Who gives you that? Instructions, opportunity, inheritance, restoration, double. Blind man. Jesus gave the blind man a clear instruction, go wash in Siloam. The blind man went to the pool of Siloam and washed. He came back seeing. He received his sight not only physically, guys, but he also received vision, instructions, the how-tos, the what, purpose. Income generating activities, wealth, health, relationships, favor, honor, blessings. What is the meaning of Siloam? The blind man was healed at the place called Sent. Where have you been told to go? You see, even the environment matters. It's not just called sent for just sent. You see, that place called sent, which is also Siloam, God doesn't just heal us, He prepares us for purpose. He doesn't simply restore us, He aligns us with assignment. He does not simply open our eyes, He sends us, we go. So, in the place where He has told you to go, and then let me tell you, in one of the process, in one of the places that He can tell you now, go there, you can be like, no, I'm not going to, me? No, God would never tell me to do that. And He's the one who has told you to go there. And guess what? Everyone will be like, no, I think she's on another different journey. God will not. You, who are you? Are you God? Those 3 days when Jesus died and before He rose again, where did He go? So God can tell you to go to hell, not the other one, but on earth here. That's also another teaching for another day. Thank you for the response indeed. Hmm? So, the sent place also requires your attention. There are environments where you cannot break through a door, break through a gate. There are some locations that are specific for something, they have a significance, but you will not know the significance until you finished obeying. The moment you finish obeying and you finished what you were there to do, or you are in the process of about to finish, then God will tell you why that place, what was in that place, what is how is it connected. Every that, oh my God. Now imagine I had not listened. You see, that's why you need to know who you're following. You will either have an empty head, the brains will be in somebody else's hands manipulating if it is not light that you're following. Somebody else will be smoking your brains to go there, to go there, to do this, to do that. So who are you following? Is the question. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. John 8:12. Every person follows something, follows someone. The question is, who are you following? Because what you follow determines where you walk. If you follow light, you walk in light. If you follow darkness, you walk in darkness. The blind man followed the instruction of Jesus. As simple as that. As simple as that. And because he followed the light, he came into light. The areas of darkness, where light shined on them. So transformation begins with obedience. You see, God will perform His greatest work through just your simple acts of obedience. If you're waiting for spectacular instructions, when they've told you, go and sit there. One day I was told, the first instruction I received, go and sit. I first got a flash. Airport, airport. Huh? Then I even saw the clothes I was supposed to wear. I said, okay. I dressed up in the clothes. I said, look, I don't know what you're telling me, but I'm just going to follow. I think this is what they say, that when you're seeing, like when you're receiving instructions, I'd reach that phase of instructions. So I went to the airport. I sat. 2 hours. Why am I here? No answer. 3 hours. Now, I was going to put on my shoes like this after that because I was tired. There was nowhere to sit. I think you know that departures at Uganda Airlines, Uganda Airlines, at Ebbs Airport, the departures, there was nowhere to sit. At that particular time, those days. So I was seated on the line where the drivers usually sit. A small pipe, and I was tired. I kept on standing and sitting, kept on standing and sitting. So I got tired. I was wearing my shoes like this. The little girl came and sat right next to me on my skin practically. And then he said, talk to her. I said, ah, so you mean she was at work, I had to wait for her. I had to. The rest is story for another day. But I followed the instruction and I almost walked away. Simple obedience. And it begins with one simple, like one conversation, one application, one apology, one act of courage, grace, one step of faith. Juliet, you opened that business. You didn't even know whether you would have customers, but you did. One instruction, followed. Simple obedience. Some things will not make sense. I'm telling you, you will be called stupid. That's what I need to warn you at. You'll be called stupid. Yeah. Yeah. Ajara. I hope that is not perceived as insubordination. Eh? Ajara. Okay. I hope that is not perceived as insubordination, honestly speaking. Eh? Okay. So, thank you for sharing that, Hajara. Question one. What instruction has God already given you that you have delayed acting on? Now ask yourself, what instruction has God already given me that I have delayed acting on? Hmm. What is that instruction that you have received that you have delayed acting on? What is that instruction? Think about it. In your hearts, you know which instruction that is that you have received but you have delayed acting on it. Question two. Are you willing to move before you fully understand? Or you are the logical one who says, it doesn't make sense. A visionary, a steward, a builder, a leader. These are some of the things that you go through, actually, most of the times. Have you mistaken waiting for obedience by any chance? Have you mistaken waiting for obedience? Hmm? And what is that opportunity? Now I want you to go back and ask yourself these questions and be very sincere with yourself because I don't expect you to answer them immediately. Okay? That's why I'm giving them to you. Go back, sit down, and carry out these assessments. What opportunity is God asking you to step into? I've given you case studies. So that's why you see even the reflection questions don't really have examples. I want you to apply them to you, basing on the case study that I have taken you through. Who are you following in this season? Who are you following in this season? You have to be honest with yourself. And now I don't mean human beings. And then what area of your life needs you to go, wash, and see? What is that area of your life that needs you to go, wash, see? Because for you to be able to see, you need to go. For you to be able to wash, you need to go. So it all starts with going. In other words, doing. So the blind man's healing did not begin when he saw. No. It began when he obeyed. You see, transformation is not just receiving from God, but it requires your participation. The widow participated. Did you see her? The blind man participated. You've seen. And we must participate too. Naaman participated also in his leprosy and his clothes. He participated. We must also participate because the journey from blindness to sight is often simpler than we can imagine. Go, wash, see. It's not simple, but it's simple. When you finish it, you say, so what was I waiting for? Either way, I was going to go through it. So, either way, because that's where I want to be. So why not just deal with it and get done with it? Because on the other side of obedience, there's transformation. You've been praying for transformation. You've been praying for financial breakthrough. You've been praying for a marriage. You've been praying for your spiritual life to be revamped. You've been praying for business. You've been praying for your body to get in shape. You've been praying for clarity on something. Hey, do the right thing. Obey. Hmm? Are we still there? Hmm? So, our call to action. Identify one instruction that you know God has already placed before you. It may be a conversation that you need to have. It may be a step of faith you need to take. It may be an opportunity you need to pursue or a door you need to walk through. Don't wait until you understand everything. What is that one instruction? What is that opportunity, that step of faith that you believe that God is asking you to act on right now? Like, act on right now. Do this, do that, do that, do that. What is it that requires your utmost attention? Now that we have understood why is the silence? Say something. You're reflecting. Hmm? Reflecting. Okay. So, unless anybody has something to say, that's the call to action. Tomorrow, please come with something. Okay? Come with something. And it's a conversation that you've had, something that you are comfortable sharing. You don't have to share what you're not comfortable sharing, but come with something that you can share. We need to see progress and we need to have accountability. That is more important than anything. We need to have accountability. Okay? So unless anybody has anything to say, as usual, I always close and tell you, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, subdue, and take dominion in your area of, or your sphere of leadership, where God has blessed you or that God has given you. And you would know if He has given you family, take dominion in that environment or territory. And if you have not yet reached that level, it's okay. Let's go through that process. Allow for the process to play itself out at every level. Be very patient, but also keep going. What you could have done in 10 years, you could do in 10 months, in 10 days. You never know. 20 days is faithful. So, unless anybody has anything to say, I beg to close. I have another class, so I would like to close this class. And if any of you, by the way, would like to now go through your transformation process individually, because now the transformation process that I took you through was a general one. If you want to work with me, okay, or you want me to work with you in your transformation process, you can inbox me. You're welcome, Brenda. You can inbox me and I can work with you. I think Brenda, you met Clayton. I think you met her. You were there in that meeting. He introduced you to her. Her transformation process took only 4 months. She developed a solution, and so many other things came out of her transformation process. And we just met here in Dubai. You're welcome. So, you're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you too. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for attending and see you tomorrow. Please come on time. Come with your assignment done. Okay? Shalom, shalom. Bye bye. Have a beautiful